with a big smile.
Good afternoon.
Just to say...
Hey, Jude, down the river.
Yeah. I'm Andrew MacDonald, Chair of Active Lifestyle. This is Shelley Hales, Director of Leeannas Wish, and together we're facilitating today. The lady, Eleanor, is from the museum itself, and she'll be helping us come and go, or bringing copies of things and so on. And then behind the camera is Julie, as always, videoing and taking photos. We've been commissioned by the museum, in line with our exhibition Becoming Us, to do a community history pin to collect information from St Albans African Caribbean residents, because, as I said in our preview, that the museum did not have any information on African Caribbeans in St Albans, even though we've been here for quite a long time. And also in things like newspapers or so, they hardly show us. I can remember when it was the Notting Hill Carnival, years ago in the 70s, 80s, they only used to show when someone has been pickpocketed or stabbed and nothing else.
True.
And now today, when they are involved, you see it all over the news, all the lovely things that happen at the carnival. So it's like that.
Yes.
Even though we're here, they did not have the information as part of St Albans residents. So the information will be archived. It will go on the website so that people in St Albans can see it and beyond, as well as kept in their archive. When I was at the airport, something has just popped in my mind. When I was coming over age 10, and on the plane there are all girls, all little girls, or children, on that BOAC aeroplane, 747, and when the suitcases were being opened, there wasn't any clothes or anything in there. What there was Dutch pop, there was anything from the Caribbean food plumped in there for them to take or bring over. And I remember I was so surprised at that. I know I had, when I got to St Albans, my dad opened my suitcase and there were clothes in it, and he was going through it, and then suddenly he went, ah! What was in there? Rum, wrapped up in towels and things. And I thought, oh, those
were the days.
And I realised my gran didn't tell me, because I would have said something at the airport. You know, a little kid who would have said, oh yes, there's rum, there's this, there's that in there. So, you know, it's just these sort of things we were prompting people to try and talk about.
And the history, so traditions such as, for me, just having you here reminds me of the Saturday Club. We've now got the second edition of it, and it's using all the principles. All the principles that you instilled in us as children.
I found it really important, the project, what you both have done, and I applaud the both of you for all your hard work to support and put us on the map, the community on the map. But for me, all your hard work and labour, there needs to be a continuation. Absolutely. There needs to be a legacy, because yourselves, who before us, you are the ones who created the pathways for the likes of, for me and the younger ones. And I think it's really important, especially here in St Albans, where there is a black community, but there is, let's not forget, there's a lot of a black community, but we're all one community, because there's a lot of mixed relationships. And it's really important to educate everybody about our history, wherever your background, Asian, people who come from Jamaica, they'll know there's a lot of Chinese, there's a lot of Asians, there's a lot of white Jamaicans.
Yes.
So it's really important, and a lot of people don't know that.
It's one of those things, it's a choice, isn't it? So we can put this out to schools, but again, we have got to do this because schools are not going to go those extra steps unless there's some kind of force behind them. It's much easier to just put on 12 years a slave and show that to the class and traumatise all the black children in there rather than teaching about the stuff that we have done here. And people always take the easy route, because actually people are tired of fighting. People are not really interested. Do you know what I mean? People are not really interested. It's like a little game to them. And that's why we've got to get our young people invested and get them doing oral histories and get them talking to us and asking the questions and starting with their family history and the trees and stuff like that. Yes, Stephanie, I would get your girls as well. They're booked in for the 18th of April. Yeah, because we have got to start with them.
But we need encouragement from the older generation, because they are the ones who have the Caribbean history to bring to the youngsters here. So we need you to encourage your children and grandchildren and to join and talk about it, enjoy it, be proud of it,
and to join forces.
My grandchildren can tell you about, because I tell them everything.
Yes. That's good.
But it's about, but it's about taking part and getting it down as well as part of the history, because it is a lot for one person, especially one person who doesn't really have an interest in that area. There's so many of our younger people, or just people in St Albans who've got a real passion for history, might not know how to use a history pin, got real passion for this, but might not know how to do that. And it's important that you feed all that back to us so we can create the workshops again if we have to, so we can get people the knowledge of how to put things on history pin.
I could remember standing in front of this museum here, and it wasn't a museum then. And I stood there with Pastor Lionel, and I stood there with great passion, and I says to him, I pray that God will help us, that there will be a voice in St Albans to speak up for our people, because we need a voice. And I stood right out there and I said, God, and this come about now. So it's for us. A lot of the older seniors have passed on. So we who left behind support what is going and get our children and children. And this is only here for a short, until the end
until June.
Until June.
But then, hopefully, I've heard a lot of comments of people wanting to have. So the more people who say it, the more we have a leverage in discussing.
That's what I'm going to say. I hope that it continues. Yes, and we're bringing in everyone, because we are too far apart.
Yes.
You see, and we need to support one another. When I came in, we were talking, and I have to say to him, "Excuse me a while," and I called Shelley, and I hugged her, because the first night when she stood there and speak with tears in her eye, I said, "Yes, Lord. We need more of the younger ones to have that passion, yes, and to see where we go from there, because they have heard so much about, the slavery and this and that, just all the bad things. Yes. Put that aside. Yes. Put that aside, and move on. That's past and gone. Yes, a lot has suffered, but we don't want to live in the past. We just do not want to live in the past. We want to support each other, support whatever is going, and take it from there. And then when we are off the scene, we can, say thank God, the new generation. I told my grandchildren all about, about two now grandchildren going to get married, and I went to one, and I said, come on. I bought the meat myself. I bring the curry. I bring everything, and I said, come on. And I show exactly how to cook. Yes? And whatever. Saturday soup. You name it, whatever. And show them. That doesn't mean they're not going to do their own, but at least you talk about the partner. Michael, you mentioned about the partner. I remember when we moved to our house, we're living next door to an Irish couple. And he says to me, Pearl, tell me something. Who is it that you people are able to buy your own house? And I make sure I take my time and tell him, partner. And I explain what it means. Because a lot of, English people never own their own houses. When we went in that road, there wasn't one car that was driving on that road. You know, and I sat down with him and I explained to him and explained how it works. You give your partner, and then you get that partner that helps for your deposit for your house.
For both you and Shelley, as representatives of both your organisation, what is the vision of this? Where do you want it? Because we can all put on a great show and do things, but what's the next steps? What's your objectives for this?
Yeah. Personally, for me, this is a long time coming. For years and years, trying to get a plot of land or a building or something to have like a community centre or so. But this is the tip of the iceberg, and I'm sure Leeannas Wish will say the same. We will go on the website, so the information that we're collecting here, we will continue to build a website, and then we will continue. I mean, my personal thing is to have like a museum in St Albans, as well as a community centre goal, but that is long term. So we have to take, you know, baby steps in order to get to where we are. I mean, what do other people think? We want to have a permanent building, and I know some of the churches want their own permanent building as well. But our own museum, our own community centre, or our community centre that we can have a room in there for a museum. Anyone can use it, and so on and so forth. Sorry? A multicultural centre. That is my personal long-term thing, but I'm hoping that the younger generation will take that on, because it's taken me so long to get to this. I don't know whether I'll see it. Because the difficulty is with St Albans, and I've said I've travelled in the NHS all around, and I go to places that I don't even think I would see black people, but they've got their community centres. Since my 20s I've been trying.
You know why? Because they stick together.
This is exactly why.
100%.
That's it. They stick
Simple
together.
solution, isn't it?
Also, St Albans is affluent. So when you go for land, you know the whole bus garage area?
Oh gosh, yes.
Was fighting for that, so that we can, not just us, but we could have a part of that, as well as the rest of the community. But no, the land is too wealthy, so they sold it off.
But I do think it's sticking together.
You know, yeah.
We need to be more strategic.
Exactly.
It's strategic, because that church, even the church that's now a mosque, you know, if we're strategic and we're working together, that's another, because, you know, people are sticking together. We are not, whether we like each other or not, we have got to. If we're going to get a building, if we're going to get a centre, we've got to fight.
We've got to stick together, because in those years, in my younger years, it was very isolated, because I was in a position where I went to meetings and met different things, and it was just me. I would hear about other funding, and I would say, what about the Caribbean? And they speak English. And I said, but no, the older generation speak patois. So they need support and help, we need the money. And it's also...
Look how much the Prime Minister had just given to
Exactly.
other funding.
So what I'm saying is, I know Michael, Shelley and I, Julie there, we have started to work together, and we want you all to start to work together with each other. It doesn't matter what island you come from, what colour your skin is or anything, we need to support and work together.
There are many of us who come to our twilight years, and we could only contribute of what we accumulated, experience and thought and ideas. But the ones that we left behind, this is on their shoulders. We have done the good work, you know, because we have it extremely difficult even to see one of you at school. Many times I had to go to school to save the skin of my son's life.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
You know,
things
so-
are really changing though.
So what at this stage where we are at this point of life, we could only, many of us who are inclined to do that could only support. But you younger ones have got you got to walk. You still got the energy that we don't have. We run out of energy. We can't go on forever, and we're not going on forever.
Because my dad had been sent to Trinidad for work to build the hospital there. Came back after 2 years, and my parents were so happy with how they'd been made welcome in Trinidad. They recognised the problems here.
We had a hard job getting a place of worship. We have moved 5 times. From the adult school, we went behind Peyton Bookshop, then we went to Abbey Institute, then we went to the Methodist Church at Boundary Road, and then we went to the Salvation Army, and they kindly sold us the place. God prepared that place for us. But it's very difficult in St Albans.
It's very
We tried
difficult.
very hard to get land and so on. They gave us a piece of land up in New Greens, and that would have built a church and a hall, and somehow or other,
Something happened.
something happened.
Yes.
That's my grandma over there, she came here. I'm grateful to her for coming here, but even though we're here and she's given us all this opportunity, her and my granddad, there still seems to be lacking opportunity for young black people in the UK. And even myself and my husband are even considering leaving the UK because of the lack of opportunities that we have. We want our daughter to go to a good school, but we can't afford to buy a house in the school that we want her to go in. We're qualified people, but we can't. But people in our day and age are living paycheck to paycheck, and there isn't that support where you can do certain things. I myself, I still do partner. My husband's mum is Jamaican, so that's a standard partner to pay for certain things. But I think it's so important for us to, 1, stick together, and 2, encourage our young children and take them back to the Caribbean. Because there are some people that have never been, and I'm 40, I take my kids all the time. And they love it. If you don't know who you are and where you're from, you have no idea where you're going.
Exactly.